Peterbot has just revealed his brand new settings for Fortnite Chapter 7. Since my last breakdown on him, a lot has changed. He's upgraded to a new PC with ridiculous specs. He's adjusted his actuation point to be more sensitive than ever before. He finally showed his Nvidia settings he's never revealed on stream until now. And on top of that, he's since updated his stretched res, his colorblind mode, and changed some other important settings you all need to know about. All of that is getting covered in this video today, but before we start, I want to quickly mention my website GameSense.com, the best place to find Peterbot updates all in one place. I'll leave a link in the description below. Starting off though, while we are speaking about game settings, let's go ahead and see what he's using for Chapter 7. For movement, he's using toggle sprint. For combat, he's using auto pickup weapons. For building, he has completely disabled the new setting simple builds. As he said on stream, he does not like it at all. He's also turned off reset building choice, and under editing, he does not use simple edits, but he does in fact have the disable pre-edits enabled. As for auto confirm edits, he does use this and he has it on edit, which Peterbot has always been a massive fan of. He said on stream that it helps him edit much faster than it would having this turned off. Then if we scroll down to the bottom of game settings, he has most of the replay settings turned off and all of the energy saving options disabled for a slight FPS boost. For his mouse settings, Peterbot has his X and Y still on 6.4%, targeting and scope sensitivities are still on 45%, building and edit sensitivities are on the default 100%. Then if we go into the Logitech G Pro app, which is the mouse software that Peterbot uses, you can see his DPI is on 800, which a lot of people think this is much higher by the way, but it is not. His mouse DPI is definitely 800. Then below that we've got his pollen rate, which is at 1000 Hz. Now even though the Superlight 2 supports up to 8000 Hz, Peterbot chooses to stick to just 1000 because it's more consistent and stable. Everyone knows that a higher pollen rate can reduce input delay, but the negative that no one talks about is it can introduce stuttering on your system due to it increasing the CPU usage. So that's the reason why he sticks to 1000 Hz pollen rate. While speaking about his mouse, he does not use a custom crosshair. He said he doesn't really like them. The only sort of custom crosshair he does use is on his Windows, which is this like cross. That's why it only shows up when organizing the inventory. If you want this for yourselves, I'll leave a tutorial I made in the description of this video. For Peterbot's mouse grip, this is actually pretty interesting. For those that don't know, he uses the 131 grip, which is a unique variation of the claw grip that pretty much gives him constant access to the scroll wheel at all times. And in games like Fortnite where building is so crucial, this can be very useful when you need those like wall resets instantly. Not only that, but it's a great thing for picking up weapons quickly, like beating opponents off spawn to a chest. I'm pretty sure this grip is responsible for Peterbot beating nearly everyone to loot when it comes to those 50-50 like chest pickup situations. Going back to the mouse sense section, just below this you'll find his movement settings. To the surprise of many, he still does not use a diagonal movement. As you can see, he has custom diagonals completely turned off. For people who don't believe me, here is his own stream command confirming that he does in fact not use it. He said on stream the reason why he doesn't use double movement is because it simply fits his playstyle better having it turned off. It's literally as simple as that. Moving on to his video settings, he is still on windowed full screen because that's his preference, but he enables this window setting to avoid any extra latency. This pretty much makes windowed full screen feel identical to normal full screen. His frame rate limit is set to 240 FPS, even though his monitor does support 360 Hz. Peterbot chooses to cap his FPS at 240 because it's the standard requirement at LAN events. In his eyes, when he plays the game, he might as well play with actual tournament settings. For rendering mode in Chapter 7, he still uses DX11 performance mode, as he gains more FPS with this compared to the DX12 one. This could be because he uses an Nvidia GPU and they are known to perform better on the DX11 performance mode than the DX12 one. His brightness is still maxed out at 150%. This not only brightens the game, but it massively improves visibility, especially when seeing enemies through builds. For colorblind mode, this is actually new. He changed it to Tritanope on the strength number 4 about a month ago. The switch happened during the Simpsons season, and to this day he has still not changed it back. Now that's not to say he won't go back to having colorblind mode off in the later stages of chapter 7, I'm not entirely sure, but for now he was seen on stream playing on Triton Up 4, which definitely does make the game look a lot more vibrant. His view distance is still set to 4, which lets him see items and builds at a longer range without hurting FPS that much. Just remember, increasing this setting does not affect player visibility. Player render distance is fixed at around 280 meters. When it comes to his textures, these are still on low because they lower the texture quality of all the assets in game, and that can in turn increase your FPS. His meshes are also on low for the exact same reason, but on top of that, they also actually have a cleaner break animation too, so there's that benefit. Moving on now to his stretched resolution, a lot of you are probably wondering if Peterbot is still using a stretched res in the new chapter, because you'll know he's been using 1750 by 1080 on and off for the past few chapters and seasons. The answer to this is yes and no. During the Simpsons season, he was seen using the 1720 by 1080 resolution, which seems to be his all-time favorite stretched res, due to the fact you get an FPS boost and the player models do look a lot bigger, which can obviously make aiming easier and more consistent than ever. But this chapter, it seems like he's going to be switching between the two. If you yourself want to try a stretched resolution, there's 3 different methods you can use. I've broke down all the steps in this video linked on screen. I will say though, I am certain that Peterbot uses method 1 and 2. If you type in this command on his stream, it links to my tutorial that explains those 2 exact methods, so I'll leave links in the description below. Moving on to his HUD settings, nothing has really changed in here. He is still using the reticle ammo indicator, he's still got his damage numbers on cumulative, and his HUD scale is set to 75%. For his audio settings, he's got his sound quality set to high to make hearing footsteps a lot more easier with his specific headset. His 3D headphones are off, as these can make sound a lot worse, and most importantly, he has the visual sound effects turned on, which can give you a massive advantage, as you can see the steps on screen. Inside his Windows sound settings, it's very likely that he has the playback set to 48,000 Hz. I'd also like to think he has exclusive mode enabled with communication set to do nothing, to overall keep his audio as clean sounding as possible. For Peterbot's keybinds, he uses T, Y, F, V, and G. Using keys like T and Y may look strange at first, but if you take into consideration his hand size and positioning, these binds can let him build, edit, and switch weapons while maintaining full directional movement. And he does all of this, by the way, without the use of double movement. So yes, these keybinds do look unusual to a lot of players, but you've got to think that these are perfectly tailored to his playstyle. In addition to that, he also uses something called scroll wheel reset, which a few new players might not know what this is. It's basically a keybind you can set up to help you reset builds instantly by just scrolling. It's something mostly every pro is using. It's especially useful for box fights and fast wall resetting. Speaking of keybinds, it's very fitting to talk about Peterbot's keyboard settings. He still to this day is using a SteelSeries keyboard, meaning he has this software. If we go inside the software, you can see his custom actuation is now set to 0.1 mm, but I think it's just on his edit key. This actually changed when he upgraded his keyboard to a newer model. To my knowledge, I believe the 2019 model was only able to get 0.2 mm, whereas the newer 2023 model can reach 0.1 mm. It may seem like just a little boost, but it can make the difference, as that is way more sensitive than before. In addition to that, he also uses a setting called Rapid Trigger, which I believe he also uses just on his edit key only. What this does is it makes your keys instantly reset as soon as you lift your finger off it. So if you've got that just on the edit key, it can massively increase the speed of your edits. Moving on to Peterbot's Nvidia settings, I want to start off with his driver. The custom driver he revealed on stream, version 560.94.
560.94.
Peterbot said on stream that this was the best driver for his current setup, which for those wondering, he's using the 4090 GPU. I'm just hoping that when he did install this driver, he took advantage of Nvidia's clean install feature, which not a lot of people know about. In my opinion, this is the best way you can install your new drivers. May that be a custom one like Peterbot or a brand new one. Next from that though, if we actually go into the Nvidia settings themselves, Peterbot has increased his digital vibrance to 70% to improve his overall visibility. This, for those that don't know, can make the game look a lot more vivid, a lot more vibrant, and just sharper overall without affecting performance negatively. It literally does nothing to your FPS, it just changes the color of the game. In addition to that, Peterbot has also changed his scaling mode inside of the adjust desktop size and positioning tab. To my knowledge, I expect him to change this whenever he plays native or stretched resolution. If he's playing native, his scaling mode is likely on no scaling, with perform scaling on display, and if he's playing stretched resolution, it's likely his scaling mode is on full screen with perform scaling on GPU. As for the rest of his settings, like all of these 3D settings in the 3D settings tab, I've already made a video going over each one of those and what all the pros are using for each individual setting. It's just too long for this video, so I'll leave a link to that in the description below. For Peterbot's monitor settings, he said on stream that he does in fact like his monitor settings to be very bright, so it is fair to assume that all these settings will be very high. What he didn't confirm though is whether or not he uses the DiAC setting or a similar motion blur reduction setting. With him having a BenQ monitor, I would like to think that he is taking advantage of these, but I'm not entirely sure. Moving on to Peterbot's new gaming PC, which was I think built by a guy called Saints PC, who seems to build PCs for almost every top pro NA player. He posted the specs of this PC and it's insane. The CPU is an AMD Ryzen 7 9800X3D. The GPU is an ASUS ROG Strix RTX 4090 overclock edition. And for the RAM, it looks like he's got 64GB of very fast DDR5 RAM. By the way, if you were wondering whether Peterbot's operating system was tweaked, it actually wasn't. Saints PC confirmed that the only overclocking was done was during the build. Peterbot also mentioned on his stream before that he does only use the base Windows 11 and he doesn't use any sort of custom OS. I will say though, it is very likely that he has done some standard Windows optimizations that everyone should do. Finally, we've got his gaming setup. For his mouse, he's using the Logitech G Pro Superlight 2. This is a very popular choice amongst pro players because it's got a comfortable shape and it's very suitable for most grip styles. For his keyboard, he's using the SteelSeries Apex Pro 10 keyless in the 2023 edition, and yes, he does use the wrist rest. For his mousepad, he's still using the GameSense Radar Benjyfishy edition in the large desk size. His monitor is the ZOWIE XL2566X Plus, which is a 400Hz display monitor, which also features some motion blur reduction stuff like DiAC. For his headphones, those are the HyperX Cloud 3s. I believe these were an upgrade from his broken HyperX Cloud 2s, which he actually used for a while they were in this state. Oh, and for anyone wondering what his actual setup looks like at home, he is still using the same cheap desk and chair he's always had. The chair is just a standard mesh one from Walmart, and the desk is a standard fold out one from Walmart as well. This just proves that even though he has a lot of money and he could easily buy like a Herman Miller or an expensive gaming desk, Peterbot chooses to use what's most comfortable for him, and that is pretty cool. But yeah, that right there has been Peterbot's updated settings in Fortnite Chapter 7. To stay up to date with Peterbot, be sure to check out GameSense.com, and before you do go, feel free to check out any of my other videos that are on screen right now.